Yes, the Michigan Legal Milestone is the state bar's recognition of incredible and gifted attorneys in Michigan. And it's a way of allowing the public, as well as other attorneys, know about these great lives by putting up plaques so that people, both in the state of Michigan as well as tourists, see them and they learn about our incredible attorneys.
The Davis-Dunnings Bar Association was extremely honored and excited to be asked to co-sponsor this year's Michigan Legal Milestone in honor of former Attorney General Frank Kelley. And the reason that we are excited about that is absolutely because of the legacy of commitment to public service, commitment to the development of professionals in the legal field, which is right in line with what it is that the Davis-Dunnings Bar Association is committed to in the mid-Michigan area.
What I learned from him are some values that lawyers often forget, and that's friendship and compassion for humanity. This man had that beyond explanation. It's a word that we don't use for lawyers much anymore, and that's counselor. Frank was the consummate counselor. You could go to him after a horrible day in the courtroom or something horrible in your personal life, and with his wit, his wisdom, his humor, and his compassion, you would feel so much better after just 20 minutes. You would have been brought to even keel. You would have been more focused and able to handle the problem and put it in perspective. It's a unique talent that we often forget lawyers have to have in dealing with clients as human beings. And if I learned anything from him, it was, we are dealing with human beings here, Steve, as he would always say.
One of the things that was really unique about the Attorney General, when I was named the head of the criminal division, I went in to meet him and basically be given the news, and I asked him if he had any special agenda or priorities that he wanted me to carry out, and he only gave me one direction. And I thought, you know, go after organized crime, or let's try to reduce white-collar crime. I thought there would be some priority that the office wanted me to focus the attention of the criminal division on. And he said, no, what we do is we serve the people of Michigan. We have one objective, and he says, just do good. Do what's best. And he says, if you ever have any doubt, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So it was really the objective of the office was to serve the people of Michigan. The one thing I learned during my quite a long time in the office while I was serving Mr. Kelley is that he really was an innovator and a pathfinder. He changed the business model of the position of Attorney General for the states. So he was one of the first AGs to take positions in cases which were sometimes diametrically opposed. So you would have one staff of lawyers, and they'd be walled off, so it would be ethically proper. One staff of lawyers taking the position that the governor wanted us to take. And then he might have other lawyers arguing a different position, a different argument, which he felt was more in the public interest. And this was because he may not, and many times he was not, the same political party as the governor. So their policy positions may be different. And so he wasn't afraid to use the office as an agent of the people.
And he was a fabulous person. Wonderful to work for, a great friend, a lot of fun, a fabulous public servant. He mentored so many people. He was so encouraging and inclusive and progressive. A fighter for the public as well. You know, he used to make sure we kept utility rates down by challenging rate cases in the Public Service Commission. There were just a lot of different things. But I think that one of his legacies is all the fabulous staff that he built and helped along the way, because they themselves were public servants, and they still are. They're still around. We're all still here doing a lot of the work that Frank trained us to do.
The
The main thing the Institute does is bring in a speaker every year who sort of exemplifies those values of legal practice, ethics, and public service, which is what Mr. Kelley's life and his career have come to stand for. And that's not only just in Michigan, but nationwide. So the students get to see that there is a value to being a lawyer in public service, in the state government, for a nonprofit, in the federal government, working in maybe indigent defense, working maybe in legal services, all those kind of public service ideals that Mr. Kelley exemplified.
And he was the most loyal person I've ever known. If he was your friend, he was your friend forever, through thick and thin. And he always made things look easy, but he believed in preparation behind the scenes, and he always did that with a bunch of good people he had around him. He always called support staff and attorneys his colleagues. He never said, "I'm your boss." He was always colleagues. We were all in it together, and he was their boss, but he didn't lord it over anybody. He was very kind and generous. He had a very good sense of humor, very witty, but of course he was Irish. He got along with members of both parties. Most of the time the governor was on the opposite party, but he always thought they had different philosophies, but if what they wanted to do during their term was legal, then he was their attorney and there was no problem.
Frank Kelley was a tremendous lawyer for a governor to be able to work with. He was a man who assembled a very talented team of lawyers around him. So he had key deputies that were just impressive. Leon Cohen and Stanley Steinberg were two that come to mind, and certainly Stanley was there for much of the time that we worked together. But the one thing about Frank Kelley that I always admired, you could say to him anything. You could talk about what you were concerned about, what you were worried about, policies that you were considering. And Frank made it very clear, even if he disagreed, he said, "Look, you're the person who got elected governor. I'm your lawyer. I'll give you the best advice I can give you. If there's something that we absolutely might disagree on, for instance, something really political like redistricting," he said, "then I'll have to give you your lawyers and I'll have my lawyers, and we might be on different sides." But throughout my time, in 8 years, he was just terrific. And I can't say enough good things about his skill as an attorney general and the way he worked with a governor. I found out the next year how much I missed him when he was gone. And then it was the privilege to be able to appoint him to the Mackinac Island Park Commission. He loved Mackinac Island, and those memories of Frank being up there and talking with him. And he's a raconteur of stories about Michigan political history, and he was just fun to sit down with and chat because he knew so much, and he was part, imagine, of the history, because he was, for the new Constitution of 61-62, the only Attorney General for a very, very long time.
We operated for about 20 years when Mr. Kelley decided that he was not going to run for re-election as Attorney General after 37 years in that position. And he actually called me and asked me if I would be interested in having him join our law firm. And I was surprised by the call, number one, but very happy to get it, and rather quickly decided that yes, this could work, and in recognition of his long service and wide recognition, I actually renamed the firm so that it became Kelley Cawthorn. Mr. Kelley was a pioneer in taking it further than that. He instead made it, or in addition, made it a position which advocated for people. He certainly left a mark, there's no question about it.